Assalamualaikum, my dear students. How are you all? I hope that you are all well by the grace of Allah. At first, I want to remind you that stay at home and stay safe. Okay? Today, I have come with a view to taking a class on changing sentence. You have already, you can see on the board, I have written some questions. Because for maintaining time, I have already written this question on the board. Okay, this is the grammatical item changing sentence. Today, this particular class is not only for any one class, but for the junior level classes like class 6, 7, and even for class 8. In your grammar item, you got a changing sentence which has 5 questions, each containing 1 mark. Today we will try to practice some changing sentence according to your syllabus. As I have already written those questions in the board, so now I will explain the question first, then we will try to make solution of this written question. And we will have to answer this question as it is directed on the brackets. Let's start. At first, we can see the question. The flower is a very charming gift of nature. That means flower is a very beautiful gift of nature, and it is directed. We need to be changed it in exclamatory sentence. We all know that in an assertive sentence, if we get a very, then it will be changed. It will be start with what? If we want to change it into, transform it into exclamatory, then we will need to start with the very particular word. If we have a very in the question, we will have to start with what in exclamatory sentence. What? Then we will use what for a very. What? A. Then the rest of the rest of content, rest of extension after the word very. So now we will write what. We will have written what for a very. Then we will use the article a. Then we will write down the rest of the sentence. What a charming gift of nature. Then we will come to the very first word of the question of the sentence, that is the flower. The flower. Here now you have to remind in mind that the exclamatory sentence or the verb uses in the affirmative sentence will be on the last of the sentence in an exclamatory sentence. So here is the auxiliary verb is will be used at last of the sentence. Flower is, and as it is directed for exclamatory sentence, so we must use the mark of exclamation. And it is very important for everybody. If the whole sentence is correct and you don't use this exclamation mark, therefore you will get 0. Then therefore you will get no mark if you don't use this exclamation mark. So it is very important for you to use the exclamation mark. So we can say that the flower is a very charming gift of nature. It is. We have to change it into exclamatory sentence. Then we use what for the particular word a very. Then we use the article a. Then we use the rest of the word charming gift of nature. Then the subject, the flower, and then the auxiliary or the used verb in the sentence will be the last. And for most importantly, in an exclamatory sentence, we have to use the mark of exclamation. So I hope that you understand this. Let's see to the second question. Here, the question is, who does not like flower? Who does not like flower? You can see it is an interrogative sentence by seeing the mark of interrogation at the last of the sentence. And the direction is, we have to make this sentence affirmative. We have to make this sentence affirmative. If we get who plus auxiliary, then not, then base form of the verb B1, then the extension, then if we want to transform it affirmative, then we will use everybody. Because of in the replacement, as the replacement of who, we will use everybody. And this does is used as the auxiliary of negative auxiliary of like, based from like. So this is the third person singular number. Everybody is the third person singular number. That's why here will be added an s. This does is for this s. Is for this s. Everybody likes flower. Everybody likes flower. Everybody likes flower. And as it is interrogated, that's why here is the word for the opposite meaning. Here is the word not is used. So if we explain it again, who does not like flower? Interrogative sentence. If we want to make it affirmative sentence, we have to remind it two things, that it will be affirmative. That's the opposite meaning of this word, and the particular word in the question here is used who. We have to use the word everybody in the replacement as the replacement word of who, and the does will be vanished as with the main verb like an s will be added, s or es will be added as it is third person singular number. Then the extension of the rest of the words, and the not will be vanished because of the meaning of the word, because this is the opposite meaning of the question. And now let's focus on the number C. Flowers are used on different occasions. Flowers are used on different occasions. As it is directed to be active, then we can easily understand that this particular sentence is in the passive form. So now, in changing and voice, in previous class I have told you, I have showed you about some voice changing of voice. Now it is in the passive form. We need to be done in affirmative form. So here we need at first an object. Flowers are used on different occasions. Here we can find no objects. Here we can find no objects. But you should remind in mind that there are some invisible objects in the passive form. There are some invisible objects in the passive form. So flowers are used by whom? By us. Flowers are used by us or by people. Here the object people or we are invisible here. So in the active form we must use that object as subject. But in the passive form sometimes we may not use them because they may be invisible. For example, in this sentence, the object is invisible, and the rule of the voice, you all know that the object will be the subject. Here, the object, if we take the object as us, then the subjective form of the object will be we. Subject, then the base form of the verb as we are doing it in active form, and the and it is and is our subject M is a V3 and the extension invisible object and the extension that means it is in present indefinite tense. The passive form of present indefinite tense. So the active form of present indefinite form, we all know that subject V1 object, subject V1 object plus extension. So here is the object, object is by us. So the subjective form of the object will be we. Then the base form of the use is we use. Then the objective form of the subject flowers will be flowers. We use flowers on different occasions. Occasion means program. Occasion means program party. So we use flower on different occasions. Then the passive form is flowers. Then the passive form is flowers. Flowers is the object will be the subject. Flowers. Then M is R. Flowers are plural. Then R. V3 extension. But by us are invisible there. That's why it is in that fashion. You may use as the subject people. People use flowers on different occasions. The same thing. Okay. Then let's move to the next one. It has both charm and commercial value, and the direction is we have to transform it negative. We have to transform it negative. First of all, you can see the word both dash and. If we have both in an affirmative sentence and if it is directed to be transformed into negative sentence, that we must use the word not only but also for making it negative. So it has, instead of both we will use not only. It has not only charm, and instead of and we will use but also. It has not only charm but also commercial value. Again, I am repeating it for you that if we have both and in a same sentence, that is in an affirmative sentence, and if it is directed to transform into a negative sentence, then we will have to use not only but also, and we will use instead of both use not only, and instead of and we will use but also. Okay. Then the last one, everybody hates him. Everybody hates him. And in the transform of sentence or changing of sentence, affirmative to negative or negative to affirmative or affirmative to interrogative, the meaning of the word would be the same. The meaning of the word would be the same. So everybody hates him. It is the direction that it should be transformed in negative. So instead of everybody, we will use nobody. Nobody. And the opposition word hates will be likes. Rest of the word is hate. Nobody likes him. That means everybody hates him. The question was everybody hates him, and the direction is to make it negative. And in case of if we have everybody in the affirmative, and if we are asked to transform it negative, then we will have to use nobody in the replacement as the replacement of everybody. Nobody. And the opposite word of the verbs hates will be likes. The opposite word hates likes, and the rest of the word or extension will be the same. Extension will be the same. Okay, my dear students, again I am giving you a quick feedback whatever today I have discussed. At first we have a question or sentence. The flower is a very charming gift of nature, and it is an affirmative sentence, and we are asked to transform it exclamative sentence. And if we want to transform an affirmative sentence into an assertive sentence in an exclamatory sentence, then we will have to find the word very or a very. If we have a very in an affirmative sentence, in an exclamatory sentence, we will start with the word, particular word what. In the replacement of a very, we will use what. And after the word a very, the rest of the extension will be used or will be said immediately after the word what. So a very will be transformed as what, charming gift of nature, a charming gift of nature. Then the subject will be sit there, the flower. And at the final of the sentence, at the end of the sentence, there will be the auxiliary or will be the base form of the verb. Here in this sentence we have auxiliary is, finally we have put is in the end of the sentence, and as it is asked to be transform in exclamatory, then we must use the sign of exclamation or exclamatory sign. If you don't use the sign, then you will get no mark. Then the next question we can see who does not like flower, and after seeing the mark of interrogation, we are sure that it is an interrogative sentence and we are asked to make it affirmative. So if there is word used as who in the interrogative sentence, and if it is asked for affirmative, then we must use the word everybody. And the does there is used for the negative form, third person singular number, then we use s. In replacement of does, we use s with the V1, likes. Everybody likes flower, and the not will be vanished from here because because of the meaning of the sentence. Everybody likes flower, that means who doesn't like flower? That's the same thing. That's why not will be vanished from here. Furthermore, flowers are used on different occasions, and by reading this question or by seeing the direction, we may assume that it is surely a passive sentence, passive form. So we will make it active, the direction. So here is the object by us or by people is invisible. In the case of invisible objects, we may use the subject as we or as people. We or people. In this case we used the subject as we, then the base form used, then the object flowers, subjective form of the object, objective form of the subject flowers on different occasions, and we may find that after after making the solution of this sentence, we find that it is a present indefinite tense. The passive form of present indefinite tense as here as the question, and we make the active form of the present indefinite tense. And number 4, it has both charm and commercial value, and the direction is to make it negative. And if there is the direction of doing an affirmative sentence into negative with the particular word both and, then we will have to, or we must use the term not only but also. In this case, it has in the replacement word of both we have used not only charm, and as the replacement word of the and we will use but also, then commercial value. And in the final one, everybody hates it, and the direction is to make it negative. So if we want to make it negative of an affirmative sentence, if in the affirmative sentence, if the word everybody, we must use the word nobody, and the direct opposite word of the particular base form of the verb hates will be likes. Everybody hates him, nobody likes him. Everybody hates him, nobody likes him. So dear students, I hope you can understand whatever I have discussed with you, and it will be beneficial for you to practice some more examples from your textbook, from your grammar book, in the same rules. And as this is online class and so not so long time, that's why I cannot write down the explanation of the rules. So directly I have explaining the rules after by making the solution of the question. I hope it will be very useful for you if you give your attention of the class. So that's for all my dear students. I hope you have enjoyed the class, and next time I will make some much more practices with you. I will try to share some new items with you. Till then, you will be safe, stay at home, and stay safe. Thank you. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.